Uh, hello. Welcome to another episode of Late Night with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad. Happy Monday, you guys. Happy Monday to everyone. I hope you had a nice weekend. It feels like it's been a very long time since I've seen you, but it was really just Friday night. What's up, Asmila J, Cindy C, Tina G, Bernadette, Mytel Cabelli, Valerie G, Samantha Hawkins, that damn Alaskan, Monique Lee, I see there, Tanya Karen G, Inahizi, Jenny Rayner. Welcome, you guys. Friday night, I had the pleasure of inviting Dr. Eric Feigl-Ding onto the show, and we did learn a little something from that young man. The ABX girl, I see you there too. Cha-Cha's here, the Trump Reaper. Welcome, you guys. And I have planned for this Wednesday. This Wednesday, by the way, you guys probably, those of you who know Brooklyn Dad well, know that Wednesday is August 17th. Those of you who know me know that August 17th is a very special date for yours truly. August 17th. Anybody know what is the significance of that date? Anybody want to take a stab at that? Hey, Scribble My Dibbles is here. Scribble My Dibbles, you ought to know. You know this trivia question. You know the answer to this one. Okay, we got Cindy C is the first one with the correct answer, sober anniversary. So that is the correct answer. That's one correct answer. But the other correct answer is from Samantha Hawkins. 1 year, no smoking. It's a very big deal. Because I will tell you this. If anybody ever tells you that they quit smoking and it was easy, lies. I've been smoking since I was 15. I'm 54 now. So that's almost 40 years I was smoking. Excuse me. And, you know, I had some moments on my vacation. You would think that smoking has everything to do with stress. People tell you when I'm stressed, I need a cigarette. It's not just that. It's mental. It's up here. It's all this stuff like when I used to leave a building, I needed a cigarette. When I finished a meal, I needed a cigarette. When I was drinking a cup of coffee, I needed a cigarette. You know, I mean, always needed a cigarette for something. It's a nice sunny day. I need a cigarette, you know. I'm on vacation. I need a cigarette. That's real. That's real. If I'm waiting for a long period of time, you know, I need a cigarette. So anyway, yes, it's those two things, the no smoking and the sober anniversary. This will be my 19th year clean and sober, and it feels fantastic. It's fantastic. My best days on drugs. Wait, hang on. My worst days clean and sober are better, miles better than my best days on drugs. For real. So, aside from that, this Wednesday, I have planned for you guys a show in which I have some peoples that I'm going to bring onto the show. So this Saturday will be yours truly, and I will be joined by Mr. Joe Walsh, who you've seen on the show already, and Miss JoJo from Jers. who you've also seen on the show. Put them all together, it should be a fantastical show. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. These are two very savvy individuals. And let's see what happens. Those of you who are paying attention, you'll note that I'm wearing my Spanky McDumbass shirt today. Spanky McDumbass coming to a prison near you soon. Now, I guess I made this t-shirt a few years too early. These days it kind of feels like something's happening, right? Let me just move this mic so you guys can see that better. This is Spanky behind bars, and it still doesn't really feel like. Some days I'm watching the news, I'm like, oh yeah, this dude is going down. He's going down. He is going to be in prison. And then other days it feels like he's Teflon Don and nothing can stick to him. But the events of the past week have given me great hope. In fact, they've given me so much hope. I am this close to finishing my book and publishing it. We shall see. Going back and forth on that. But anyway, before I get into the nitty gritty, let's cover a few things. I just finished watching. Are there any Better Call Saul fans out there? Anybody who's a fan of the show Better Call Saul? Or I should ask, is anyone a fan of Breaking Bad? Because there's some people who have seen Breaking Bad, have not yet seen Better Call Saul. If you have seen Breaking Bad, you know that Saul Goodman, was the lawyer for Walter White. Walter White was the anti-hero of Breaking Bad. Saul Goodman is the anti-hero of Better Call Saul. Indeed. So they just wrapped up tonight. They wrapped up the series. This was the end of the show. And I just tweeted maybe about half hour ago, 20 minutes ago, that it is really difficult. Those of you who have watched, long running series, it's difficult to wrap up a show well, especially one that's a popular show like Better Call Saul. And Vince Gilligan did his thing. This was fantastic. Overall, the show was brilliant. I think, everything from the art direction to the directing to the acting to the cinematography, this show was chef's kiss. The writing, everything. Don't worry that damn Alaskan. I'm not, no spoilers here. No spoilers. And guys, if you've watched it, don't drop any spoilers in the comments, please not to do this. Let's see. I saw some comments here. Foxhole Dream says, do the book. We shall see. And I see we've got some new people joining us here. Coretta Tiller is joining us. Meredith Powell, what's up, my friend? Just don't want to miss. Lacey is here. Scott Samuelson, welcome back, my friend. Okay, so anyway, this was fantastic. I'll leave it at that. If you haven't seen it yet, if you've DVR'd it, actually they replayed the episode right after they played it the first time, so that maybe they're gonna keep doing that tonight. Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, okay. So this weekend, wifey and I binge watched. Wait a minute. Let me make sure you can see this. This is a graphic from the show A League of Their Own, starring Gina Davis, Tom Hanks, Madonna, and it's about the women's baseball league that started around the 1940s, when most of the guys were going off to war, so they started a women's baseball league. And it was controversial because what are women doing playing baseball instead of in the kitchen, Anyway, it was an interesting movie from the late 80s, early 90s. The famous line from that movie is Tom Hanks yelling at one of his players saying, "Are you crying? There's no crying in baseball." Um, and yeah, some people have some fond memories of that movie. I most certainly did. But then I watched this this TV show called A League of Their Own, based off of the movie, except this is very different. This is not your mama's League of Their Own. Same premise, women's baseball league, 1940s, men off to war. But the difference of this, there's a lot of gayness. Oh my God. I mean, it tells a story of women in a women's league, but it's telling it from the perspective of women who love women, right? And back then, it was forbidden. It was verboten. It was what they called inverse or freakish or whatever negative description you could appoint to being gay. Yeah, so they had to really stay hidden. They had to stay hidden for their own safety. You know, they would be ostracized. Some people were killed. You know, it was terrible. So they had to keep their orientation a secret. Oh, Jenny Rayner, you were so right. She says they're trying to do it again. Indeed. And this was a very well acted series. It's only one season so far. It's starring Abby Jacobson, who, if you guys have watched Broad City, she is one of the two main actresses of that show, which, by the way, is a hilarious show that all takes place in New York City. Watch that shit, Broad City. But anyway, she's the main character. And also, I can't remember the name of the woman to her right in this picture. She plays Janet in The Good Place. And across the board, fantastic performances. And I just kept thinking to myself, right? Rosie O'Donnell. Okay, I'll say it. There's a Rosie O'Donnell cameo in this, and it was special because Rosie O'Donnell was in the original. But I would say this: what hit me hard watching this show was that wifey and I, you know, when we walk down the street, whether we're walking our dog or walking through the supermarket or whatever, we love holding hands. Yeah, we love expressing our affection for one another. You know, that's how we roll. On the plane, you know, on vacation, on the beach, wherever it is, we just love holding hands. That's who we are. And it struck me that what if we were not allowed to express our affection for each other? Huh? What if that was forbidden? You know, I can't even imagine that. And they couldn't do this. They couldn't do that as a rule. That's what it was. That existence would suck. And, you know, that is where our LGBTQ brothers and sisters are right now. We cannot allow that to slide back we cannot allow life to slide back in that bullshit direction. We can't. Yeah. And I thought about Trevor Noah. Trevor Noah grew up in apartheid South Africa, and his parents were of mixed race, and they were not permitted to walk on the same side of the street with each other. They had to walk across the street from each other. He'd be walking on one side, holding his mama's hand, and his dad would be across the street. That's insane. I just can't even imagine that shit. And here we are. This is the year 2022. And you would think that that kind of reality is way back in our rear view mirror. It's not. It's not. If Republicans win in November, they will do that shit. Take it from the black guy who's on the Supreme Court, Clarence Thomas, who says maybe it's time for us to re-examine all these other decisions. He conspicuously did not mention, what was it? I can't remember the name of the court decision that was for interracial marriage, but that shit could happen too. Hello, Aries Wanderer, Lucy L., Veronica Tellos, and Bunny Bun Bun. That's the fun name. I love this fun name, Bunny Bun Bun. Yeah. So, excellent show. Excellent show. A League of Their Own. It's on Amazon Prime. Go watch it. It's good. It's so bingeable. Very great performances. Yesterday was Sunday, and it was the 87th anniversary of Social Security. 87 years that we've had Social Security. And if there's any folks out there who are in their 80s or their 70s and who have been contributing money to Social Security all that time, you have reason to be concerned because we know that Republicans have already stated their intention if they win. Oh, thank you. U.S. versus Loving. That was the interracial marriage decision. Thank you. Virginia versus Loving. Okay. Republicans want to dismantle Social Security, which is complete and utter bullshit. I've been putting into that since I was 17 years old. Money was taken out of my paycheck and put into that, and you want to take my Social Security away? Like when I'm this close to needing that shit? Are you fucking kidding me, bro? No. Earlier today, we had a hashtag out there, and it was, what the hell was the hashtag? It was hands off of our Social Security. And that trended number one, numero uno. So, it was a good effort, and I was proud of our ability to make that thing trend. But more importantly, it's to bring attention to that very real issue. We're not bullshitting. You know how they say when they tell you who they are, believe them? They're telling you what they intend to do. So believe that shit. Here, let me just show you. Where is this Chrome tab? Let's do this. Share. Yeah, there we go. Number one, thank you. Social Security is ours. That trended number one. Okay. Let's get to the nitty gritty. Let's get to the real shit here. So, according to NBC News, Rudy Giuliani is that close to being indicted by the state of Georgia. So, yeah, it's not Trump. But that's still pretty damn good. Rudy fucking Giuliani, man. That guy is so obnoxious. He's just as obnoxious a liar as Donald Trump is. I would say even worse, because this guy used to be the Attorney General. Hard to believe. He was a U.S. attorney back in the 80s going after mobsters like Donald Trump. And Lucy wants to know, did he lose his license? I believe he did lose his license to practice in New York. He hasn't lost his license to practice in Washington, D.C. and elsewhere yet. I don't think he's been officially disbarred. That shit needs to happen. So we'll stay tuned. It is imminent, is what I understood from Ari Melber, that it's imminent. We learned that, or Rudy Giuliani learned, that he is the target of a criminal investigation by prosecutors in Georgia. So this was fantastic news. It's fantastic. In other news, Alan Weisselberg. Alan Weiselberg is the CFO of the Trump Organization, and he is on the cusp of finalizing a deal for 5 months. That's it. Just 5 months. No cooperation. You didn't have to give them, but you're saying this is getting juicy, but no, he didn't have to give them anything on Trump. So I don't understand how that is a good deal. There's got to be something else. Got to be something else in the mix, because that's utter bullshit. It's bullshit. It's some bullshittery. What else do we have here? All right, so let's go back. Let's go back to, it's not a raid. We're not calling this a raid anymore, but it was a lawfully executed search warrant. Yeah, the FBI came, they saw, they collected. they collected documents. They collected a whole shit ton of documents that apparently the DOJ asked them nicely. They asked them nicely at first. They asked them back in the spring. They said, "Can you please give us these documents?" They asked their nice way of asking, I think, was a subpoena. And basically Trump through his lawyers were like, "I don't feel like it." That's my SpongeBob. "I don't feel like it." Yeah, they didn't feel like it. So the DOJ was like, "Okay, thank you very much. We will be executing this search warrant. We're going to wait till your stupid ass is out of the house, and we're going to house your shit." And they went in his safe, and they went in his everything. It went wherever was needed for them to go is where they went. And as a result of that, Donald Trump had a predictable reaction, and that reaction was to turn up the heat on law enforcement, which is, typical behavior for a mobster, for a gangster, for a criminal. We learned he did invoke the Fifth Amendment 440 times. 440 times. We do not yet know who the mole is. There's some speculation. Some people thought it was Mark Meadows. Other people think, like Mary Trump actually thinks that it might be Jared Kushner. I like Mary Trump. I think she knows what the hell. She knows what time it is. I think she's that's as good a guess as any, Jared. But anyway, this weekend, the Phoenix FBI office was surrounded by these armed Trumper punk asses. I say punk asses because look at them. These are the same people who bitched and complained that they don't want to wear a mask, right? They won't wear a mask to protect their fellow man, but they will wear a mask to terrorize law enforcement, federal law enforcement. These folks want to be the latest members of the FAFO club, the fuck around and find out club. Because come on, you're not winning. You're not winning against the federal government. You're not. You're trying to make a point. You're trying to martyr yourself. It's stupid. They will hit you with rubber bullets. They will hit you with tear gas. They will hit you with all that shit, and you will live to suffer in prison for the rest of your miserable life. Stupid. But there they are with these masks covering their faces. Bullshit. And then Trump, not one Republican steps up and says, hey, this is wrong. This is wrong. You have to stop. This is, we have to abide by the law. This is the back the blue crowd. This is what gets to me. This is the back the blue crowd. The people who say you should have, George Floyd should have just complied. He was complying with the knee on his neck. He couldn't comply any harder. Trump issues a statement to Merrick Garland in which he says that the temperature has to be brought down. So how he phrased it, it very much did come across as a threat. There was the implication of or else. The temperature has to be brought down or else. He didn't say or else, because mobsters, they never tell you specifically what they mean, but everything is implied. Sure would be a shame if something happened to your FBI here. Implied. And I just want to say something, right? There's a disgusting trend now where people are shooting back at us on our tweet threads, and they're saying, oh, well, you guys are the ones who wanted to defund the police. No, we never did. And when I say we, I mean the majority of us. There was a sliver of the Democratic Party and the far, far left that were saying defund the police. And that defund the police actually meant something else, not to put them out of work, not to, decommission the cops. It meant other things. It meant to reapportion the money, rebudget the money so that it's given to social services and but it's like a 5-minute explanation. So it was just bad messaging. No, the majority of us did not want to defund them. Me personally, I'll tell you how I feel about the cops, right? I'm in the car with wifey, and we're driving somewhere, and I'm abiding the law. I'm following the speed limit. I'm paying attention to all the traffic lights and signs and all that. But when a police car pulls up behind me, I stiffen up. For no reason. No reason. I'm abiding the law. But you never know with these cops. They're like a fucking stray dog. It could be friendly or it could want to bite your leg off. To me, living in my skin, the knee-jerk reaction is to not trust the cops. With that said, do I want the cops defunded? Hell no. You know why? Because when we get in trouble, when we are faced up against criminals trying to take our shit, trying to kill us, who do you want to protect us? Is the cops. We just don't like bad cops. We don't like those racist cops, those corrupt cops. Those we don't like. But cops as a whole, yeah, they protect us. They protect and serve. That's their job. That's their function. So it doesn't, it's a false argument that it has to be all or nothing. You have to be 100% in favor of all cops, dirty, corrupt, or otherwise. No, we don't. We don't. Our tax dollars go to funding them. So we should have a say in which bad apples you pull off the fucking tree. Because those bad apples are poisonous to some of us. Lethal. Anyway, where was I going with this? FBI. Same thing goes for the FBI. The FBI performed functions that normal cops, your local beat cops, cannot do. And do we need them? Yeah, we do. Why? Because there are terrorist threats that also threaten our lives. And that's who you roll out the FBI for. But suddenly, the Back the Blue crowd is 100% against the FBI. Why? Because they're doing their jobs and investigating crooked people. Crooked people like Donald fucking Trump. Oh, why do you let Donald Trump live rent-free in your head? Nah, he's not living rent-free in my head. If he would stop breaking the law, if he didn't break so many laws and get away with it, I wouldn't have to, wouldn't have to be thinking about him. You know what? I'd rather talk about sports. I got fantasy football starting in about 2 or 3 weeks. I would rather, and my Yankees, I don't like to talk about the Yankees until the playoffs start, just so you know. I like to talk about other things. I like to talk about my vacation and TV and movies and shit like that. Donald Trump is the last thing I want to talk about. And you know what? The majority of the country, I believe, wants to move on from him. But we can't move on from him until he is held accountable. Why don't you just leave him alone? No. He has to face the music for his crimes. Because no one is above the law. And then today, for some reason, he posted this thing. You guys know I don't particularly care for sharing his posts, but this one was extenuating circumstances. He posted this today. Well, in the raid by the FBI of Mar-a-Lago, they stole my 3 passports, 1 expired, along with everything else. This is an assault on a political opponent at a level never seen before in our country. Third world. And then questions abounded, like, wait, you had 3 passports? We had 3 passports for. I got news for you. So he said one was expired, right? I just recently had my passport renewed. Why? Why did I have it renewed? Because I had to go on vacation in New Zealand. You need a passport too when you're traveling out of the country, right? And so when I renewed my passport, guess what I had to turn in? Anybody know? I'll just tell you. I had to turn in my old passport. What? You can't keep that? No. It is government property. Did I give a shit that they wanted my old one back and gave me a new one? No. Why would I give a shit? It's useless. The old one is doing me no good. It does me no good. Here, take that. Give me a new one, please. You know when was the last time I had to look for my passport? When I was planning on leaving the country. Was I looking for my passport in 2021? Actually, yes, I was, because we've been planning this trip for a very long time, and so I had to make sure all my P's and Q's were together, right? But let's go back. 2020. Did I look for my passport in 2020? No. Why? Because my black ass wasn't going anywhere in 2020, so I didn't need to look for it. Already knew where it was, but I didn't need to look for it. So why am I going on this? Did I need to look for it? Because today or yesterday, apparently Donald Trump was looking for his passport. What are you looking for your passport for if you're not going anywhere, bud? Where are you going? You got plans to go somewhere? He could go anywhere he wants. He used to be the president. Not when you're under investigation, bro. That looks shady. Where are you planning on going? You going to Russia? Going to visit Vladdy? Yeah, sketchy. Sketchy. A whole lot of things. Sketchy. We just found out Thursday that the dude was possibly selling nuclear secrets to our enemies. It's insane. All this shit is crazy. It's crazy. This is Twilight Zone. It's Twilight Zone. Seriously, like stuff in the news. The former president selling nuclear secrets to an enemy country. What? It's insane. So why? Then we find out that he lied. Earlier tonight, the FBI told CBS News, no, we don't have his passports. And in fact, I do have. Here we go. Excuse me. Let me just do a quick share of that tab there. Pro tab. Okay. Here we go. This is a tweet from Rep. Eric Swalwell. And it says, wait, let me just make sure. Okay. It says, a diplomatic passport does not belong to Donald Trump. It belongs to the government. Donald Trump is not in government. And then next below that, it says, so Trump team now publicizing this email, which shows DOJ obtained 3 passports and alerted Trump lawyers. They were recovered by a filter team, which weeds out privileged info. Trump publicized this after DOJ offered them back. Evan Jim, we have learned that the filter agency's 3 passports belong to President Trump, 2 expired and 1 being his active diplomatic passport. We are returning them and they will be ready for pickup at WFO at 2 p.m. today. I'm traveling, but you can coordinate further with blank copied above. Thanks. So what is the purpose of him saying that they stole his passports? My guess is that while we're talking about his passports, we're not talking about the nuclear shit. So, Jenny Rader says he treated it like a driver's license. He's really a clown. He is indeed. He is indeed. So, what else happened? This weekend, we heard from... We heard from not Lindsey Graham, excuse me. Oh, Lindsey Graham was also in the news too. We heard from Rand Paul, who apparently thinks that it is now time, since Donald Trump is on the verge of being charged with the Espionage Act. Rand Paul thinks now is the perfect time to discuss repealing the Espionage Act. Why? Because it's not fair if Donald Trump gets charged with the Espionage Act. Seriously, this is where we are. A United States Senator is talking about changing the rules so that the guy who broke the rules doesn't get penalized by the rules. This is a guy who does not belong in the Senate anymore. Probably never, ever belonged in the Senate. You're showing your true colors, Rand Paul. I hope Charles Booker beats the hell out of him. Figuratively, in the election, not physically. Because physically, that's what his neighbor takes care of. Laura Ingram apparently thinks that it is time to part ways with Donald Trump. Maybe. It may be time to part ways with him. Or I think as she said, turn the page, that voters might believe that it's best for the Republican Party to turn the page on Donald Trump and instead follow someone who is Trump-y, Trump-ish, Trump-light, somebody who has the same Trumpy policies, but is not Trump. This is what she said. She said that out loud. She said it in some podcast somewhere. It's a good question. Might talk about is why is she doing the Hail Hitler? I guess she thought it was cute at the time. What else? Lindsey Graham attempted to defy a subpoena for him to testify, to appear in court in Georgia, and the federal judge was like, "Nope, get your ass." He was trying to pull that, I'm a U.S. senator. I shouldn't have to do this. Well, actually, you do. You do. Ooh, this is a good question. Also from Jenny Renner, wants to know, do you think that all the bad members of Congress are getting paid off for secrets? Yes. Yep, I do. Not even a moment's hesitation. 100% do. And I think that there are bad members of Congress who are not doing their thing. Oh, hang on a second. There are bad members of Congress who are not doing the right thing, who are not speaking out against Donald Trump because he has compromat on them. I think he's got a very big compromat file, or Russia does, one of the two, or both. Yeah. Otherwise, what could the reason possibly be? You know the difference between right and wrong. You learned it when you were 5 years old or 10 years old, whatever, if your parents were lazy, but you really, by the time you're 10 years old, you know what's right and what's wrong. And anybody who is a fully formed rational adult can take one look at Donald Trump's behavior and his actions and his words and his lies, and knows goddamn well that he does not fit the description of, if you're a Christian, if you call yourself a Christian, he does not behave like a Christian. He does not behave like a decent human being. If you are if you're not religious at all, if you're atheist or agnostic, but you're still a decent person, he doesn't act like that. He's act like, he was raised in the wild. And the Trumpers will follow him to the edge of the earth. We know this already. He's suspected of trading or selling government secrets, including nuclear. And you're like, it's nothing. It's fake news. Everything that they don't like is just fake news. This is no way for our country to move forward. Our country is lurching forward now. We're lurching from one scandal to the next. And it's tragic because meanwhile, President Biden and the Democrats are accomplishing incredible things. All these major deals, including the infrastructure of last year, the Inflation Reduction Act of this year, the CHIPS Act that brings semiconductor manufacturing back to America. They were all talking about, bring jobs back to America. That's what they're doing. Lowering the cost of prescription drugs, lowering the cost of insulin. The PACT Act, taking care of our veterans, and these are all things that Republicans fought against. Even the Gun Reform Act. Now, they're calling that bipartisan, but I saw somebody reply to one of my tweets today, and I have to agree with what they said. They said, when you call something bipartisan, there should be an accounting of what percentage of Republicans voted in favor of it. Because if you're calling something bipartisan, right? So let's say something passed in the House and there are 207 Republicans and 220 Democrats. 220 Democrats vote in favor of, but only 5 Republicans vote for it, but you're still calling it bipartisan. That's kind of stretching the definition of bipartisan. Really, it should be all Democrats plus 5 Republicans. not bipartisan. You shouldn't give them credit. Should not give them credit for a bipartisan, because a bipartisan deal makes the whole Republican Party look like they were responsible when they weren't. And we have to hammer them on this relentlessly between now and November. We have to remind people of everything they voted against, every decent thing they voted against. They voted against baby formula. Remind them. They are gunning for our Social Security and Medicare. Remind people of this. In addition to reminding people of all the good things that Democrats have passed. Because, you guys, I've said this before. I'll say it again. We cannot afford. Oh shit! We cannot afford to take this election lightly. We have to. Yeah, everything is on the line here. Everything is on the line. Veronica Teller says that Carolyn Maloney needs to not state that Biden isn't running. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that that's what she was doing, but what I will say, I saw a Don Winslow tweet earlier today, and he said that Democrats have to stop giving non-answers when reporters ask them, will you support President Biden in 2024? The answer should be yes. Yes. President Biden has not said that he is not running. So the answer should be yes. It's not a trick question. Back up your president. Back him up. What's the problem with that? If you don't back him up, you're acting like he's a weakness. And then your acting like he's a weakness makes him a weakness in the eyes of the independents or whatever, in the eyes of the undecideds. Stop that shit, Democrats. If a reporter asks you, will you support President Biden in 2024? Until he says he's not running, your immediate answer, no hesitation, should be yes. Period. Come on now. Come on. It's possible he might, decide that, you know what? This is not how I want to spend the next 4 years of my life. And, he'll make that decision. But don't force him into a corner on this. Right? Maitel Cabelli, unify around Biden, show strength. Yes, God damn it. That's right. I appreciate Don Winslow's tweet on that. What else? I think that's about all I had to say for tonight. Yes, it should be an emphatic yes. Yeah. President Biden all he's doing is racking up wins. Oh, in fact, hang on. I saw this thing. I'm going to share it with you. If in case you hadn't already seen it on my Twitter feed this weekend. Here we go. I like this. Share screen. Chrome tab. Boom. Boom. Wait, here we go. Good God. That's it. That's a badass little video there. A little, 1 minute video just scrolling the achievement. That's right. Celebrate that shit. more gaslighting. Don't be a victim of gaslighting. The gaslighting you will see on Twitter is you got these I don't know, trolls. I'll call them trolls that want to make you feel guilty for acknowledging your enthusiasm for the accomplishments of the guy you voted for. You understand? We voted for President Biden. So why should we, they want to call you like blue anon or something. That's some bullshit from the far left. The far left is calling us blue anon. Why? Because we are enthusiastic about the accomplishments of our party and of our party's leader, the president of the United States. Don't be ashamed of it. Don't be shy. Celebrate that shit, because you know what happens when we don't celebrate it, when we don't say woo. What do they say? They say the Democratic Party is unenthusiastic. that's what they say. The base is not motivated. I'm fucking motivated. If you can't get motivated to vote to win in November so that we can codify Roe, I don't know what's wrong with you then. And the dark Brandon stuff. Yeah, the dark Brandon stuff is funny. I'm not saying to go out there and put Joe Biden flags all over your pickup truck, or all over your house and shit. Nobody's doing that. Granted, in 2020, I think I did wear a Biden t-shirt or two, but it was different. It was an election year and trying to support our candidate. But this is not a presidential election year, so we're not in a cult. We're not wearing red hats. This hat says Brooklyn Dad Defiant. I'm pro me. Of course I am. God damn it. And don't let anybody, make you feel bad about being pro you either. Because if you don't love you, then who the hell is going to? Who will do it? Veronica says, they can kiss my blue and nod ass. All right. So, as I was saying, that's pretty much all I have to say. What do you guys have for me? What do you got? Any, oh, you know what? I wanted to ask you all. Who would you like to see me interview? You don't have to tell me right now. You can tell me right now, but if you don't have it right at the top of your head, just let me know. Shoot me a DM. Say, hey, why don't you interview Queen Elizabeth? And I'll be like, I can't do that. Make it reasonable. Make it realistic. Make it somebody that I can actually reach out to. Ooh, Beto. That's a good one. Melissa McQueen. Melissa McQueen says Beto. I would love that. He is a fascinating character. I loved when he dropped when he called that dude a motherfucker for laughing when he was talking about Uvalde. Mary Trump. I've had Mary Trump on the show here. I need to reach out to her again. See if I can make that happen. My Hakeem Jeffries. I am working on that. I am actively working on that one. Stacey Abrams. You guys, if Stacey Abrams if I could get Stacey Abrams for an interview, that would be fantastical. Yeah. So Stacey, Mary Trump, Beto, O'Rourke. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people want to see Beto. All right, I'm working on that. Full steam ahead, getting Beto on the show. Richard Ojeda, I believe Richard Ojeda is in charge of, is it Vote Vets or No Dem Left Behind? I think it's No Dem Left Behind. I know him. Adam Schiff is a good one. I don't think I know Richie Torres. Don't get angry with me. I don't know everybody there is to know, and I feel like I should know. The name is familiar to me. I'm not placing. He must be in the House. Must be a House rep. representative to a candidate per week. It's a tall order. Let's see what we can do. Rachel Maddow. That would be something. That would definitely be something. Eric Swalwell is a great one too. Yep. These are excellent suggestions, you guys. Thank you for that. He is no damn left behind. Yeah. All right, you guys. So once again, I want to thank you for joining me for another wonderful episode of Late Night with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad. And you know, if you haven't gotten your shot yet, go ahead. You know what time it is. Do it now. Wear your mask. Keep your social distance 6 feet or better. And Bronx Rep. Thank you, Samantha Hawkins. That's Richie Torres, Bronx Rep. And my Tucker Belly. Very good. Okay. Liz Cheney would be interesting. You know what? I'll say thank you, Coretta, for that suggestion. Liz Cheney would be great, but I honestly, she's still going to be on the January 6th committee, but you guys know she is fighting for her political life in Wyoming right now, and the primary is tomorrow, and she is trailing by somewhere between 20 and 30 points. So unless a miracle happens, I'll tell you this, if a miracle happens and she wins, you know what we're going to be hearing. We're going to hear nothing but election fraud stories. Yeah, that'll be very bad. She's probably going to lose. Katie Porter. That would be a freaking home run. Yeah. All right. I got my work cut out for me. And thank you, Trump Reaper. It's technically not until Wednesday, but I appreciate you. Thank you. So anyway, you guys, I will see you here Wednesday, 5:30 p.m. 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. And let's see. Let me just make sure. 5:30 p.m. and we will have Joe. I will be joined by both Joe Walsh and JoJo from Jers. It's going to be a good one. You're not going to want to miss it. Oh, and you know what else, you guys? Veronica Tello, thank you very much for your kind donation. Thank you for that. Hey, if each of you talks to a friend or two of yours, tell them about the show, give them a link, send them a link so that they can join us here on the YouTube. That will be very helpful. And then tell them to tell a friend. Yeah? Each of you has at least one friend that's not in this room right now. Reach out to them. Help a brother out. And on that note, you guys, I love you all. Wait. On that note, I love you all. Peace. Okay, I see Cha-Cha says she's recruiting. That's good. That's good. Aries Wanderer talking about Liz Cheney says she'll send her some mojo anyway, just because she appreciates her being on the January 6th committee. I do too, and I see some comments on Twitter that are very disparaging of Liz Cheney because of her history of voting. She, voted like 90 something percent of the time with Trump, which means that 90% of the time she was voting for bad things. But let's talk about what she's doing today. Yeah, it's understandable. We know she's still a Republican, and 95% of the time, we're not going to agree with the stuff that she has to say. But right now, she is standing up for and fighting for America at great cost, great political cost to herself. So there is that to be said. Cindy C with the kind reminder to please hit that like button before you go. Okay. All right, you guys. Well, you know what time it is. Uh, what time is it? You can't stay here all night. I can't stay here all night. So it's that time. You need to leave.